And hello everyone, welcome to the... which one is this one? 7th? I think this is the 7th episode of Champions Corner. Today we've got actually important guests. Usually we have Boldrat or someone from console like Fusion, but this time we've got actually important people. The 6th best player in the world, Setback, and a YouTuber, Zero Crank.
Hello.
Hello. So if you guys could introduce yourself a little bit more than just, oh, this guy plays For Honor. Then Craig, if you could start.
I'm a For Honor YouTuber and I stream on Twitch as well. That's me.
What characters do you play before we go through Setback?
I have been known to play the Valkyrie character.
Okay. Are you
Unfortunate.
That's a bad decision. Alright, Setback, so who are you? Tell me.
Incredible little known fact, Setback got ranked 239th in Season 1 of Overwatch. Also, ranked in the For Honor dual mode, I got into top 6 position there. So I'm basically a really great gamer.
Would you say the ranking is accurate, and would you say that you really are the 6th best player in the world? Or would you say maybe you're a little bit better than that?
Yeah, I was going to lean with the bit better part. I was actually questioning how accurate the system was, but then when I placed so well, I knew it was very, very well done and very correct.
Okay, all right. So this should lead to a great talk about ranked later on. But the first thing we're talking about this time, if I can guess what my scenes are correctly, it's gonna be now discussing 2v2 tournaments. Okay, so here the Mistress Mayhem happened last week, and Crow's Nest, the very first Crow's Nest tournament happened yesterday, I think it was, and it's 2v2, so we don't really care much about who won. Well, the last tournament, the Mistress Mayhem, was won by Legion of Frozen, which was Kong Kensei. And this tournament, Crow's Nest, was won by Clutchmeister and Setmix. So just to make sure that the winners are being, I guess, announced. But the most important part here is that in Mistress Mayhem, the top 5, I think, teams or 4, all had a Conqueror in it, and everyone top 4, yeah, all had a Conk in it, and everyone else, like below that, didn't have a Conk. So like the best teams all had a Conqueror, and I don't think there was a single. Maybe Fusion and Mamba, I think, weren't as high up, but other than that, like all the teams that had a Conk in it placed very, very highly. Yasker?
Yeah, just basically, if you didn't have Conk, you were not coming close to winning that. First was Konkensei, second Konkensei, third Konknobu, fourth Konkensei, and Batuchins in fifth were both Nobu Kensei, and they were both teams that have performed very well in the past. There was you and me, of course. We got fifth there, Nobu Kensei. We won 2v2 tournaments in the past together. And everyone was Ghost of Rome White Wolf, who have always performed extremely well.
Yeah.
But this time, with people getting better and better at playing Conk and 2v2, neither of our teams could come even close to beating them.
Yep. And so since then, there was a little bit of a discussion on what should be done about it, not from a Ubisoft side, like nerfing or patching or anything, because that doesn't really happen. But from our, tournament organizer, what could tournament organizers do to help the situation in any way? And so in Crow's Nest tournament, what happened was Conk was banned altogether. But then if you ban Conk altogether, well, now Nobu Kensei is the best composition, and so they banned Nobu Kensei as well. In a composition, you could play still Nobu and Kensei individually, but you couldn't play them together. And so it's difficult to say if that helped really in any way, at least from my point of view, because the tournament was a little bit of a just no one really took it as seriously as the other ones. But I think the two top teams did take it very seriously, like Clutchmines and Setmix, and Barricade and Ghostover, which I think was Warden, Nobushi, and Nobushi Berserker, as far as I remember.
Yep.
Yep, and from what Clutch was talking about, I know on his stream and for Glory, he did like it a lot more. But of course, that's just an opinion. So what I wanted to, I guess, talk about a little bit before we go into season 7 or Defend the North actually before that, is what do you guys think should be done? So for for me and Score, maybe more from a player point of view, Crack as well. But Sabak, maybe from if you watch those tournaments, what do you think should be done? To make it interesting to watch as well. So I guess Score, you can start, and then we can just go through people.
I think the biggest thing that can be done to make 2v2 tournaments more interesting would be to stop having them, please. Have 4v4 tournaments. God.
I can agree with that. Thank you very much.
But if you have to, for whatever brain dead reason, have a 2v2 tournament, I don't know if I agree with banning Conk fully. Because, of course, if you put Conk with some terrible hero, it won't be that big of an issue. So I'm leaning more towards, banning Conk Nobu, Conk Kensei, and Nobu Kensei, just the combination of those three, and then seeing what happens from there.
Okay. So, Craig, as a Conk player yourself, right, in the Mistress Mayhem I know you played, and in the previous ones as well. So first of all, what do you think should be done as a Conk player yourself, and then maybe as a viewer as well, if you do watch those tournaments?
I mean, I normally watch like a lot of tournaments. Definitely the 2s scene is kind of stale at the minute and overdone with the tourneys. There's not enough 4s going on, so I agree with scoring that completely. I was wondering what to make of banning a character outright. And I think Score's way of going about it is more nuanced, and a better solution is banning comps rather than banning characters. So, I mean, I'm just going to echo what Score said on that. I think that's the best solution for when 2s tournaments occur, but I do wish there was less 2s tournaments, even though I appreciate them, but only when they're kind of rare.
Okay, so it seems like right now there's a consensus. Setback. As a big tournament player yourself, 6th best player in the world, what do you think? As a viewer, obviously, if you watch those tournaments, do you find it fun to watch 2v2 at all? First of all, and second of all, do you think it would be more fun if there, for example, was no Conk or something else like that?
I personally think 2v2 tournaments are actually pretty fun to watch. I would hate to actually play in them, but from a viewer perspective, it's pretty interesting to see, a lot of the this rapid decision making of, do I push a button now or do I wait several seconds and then push the button?
Yeah.
But no, it is pretty interesting. It is, the format itself does not make for exciting gameplay inherently, but there has been some exciting games. And I don't mind watching them, and sometimes they're occasionally pretty exciting too when it comes down to the wire. And then as far as your second question, when it comes to outright banning characters or not, I mostly just agree with what Score was saying. Is you probably want a more nuanced approach. You probably don't want to just ban Conk outright, like you said. A Conk paired with a Shugoki probably might struggle in the 2v2 scene. So Conk isn't inherently.
It's not been tested yet. We don't know yet.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I mean, it seems like the consensus is pretty much there. I hope that if that were the case to do, like if we ban Nobu Kensei together and we ban Nobu Conk Kensei, just any comp within those 3 characters, I just hope that the answer wouldn't be okay. So now we play Conk Zerg or something like that, right? Which I'm not sure if it will happen. Hopefully not. Obviously, hopefully not. But now with Warden,
maybe Conk Warden.
Yeah, now with Warden being a thing as well, I just hope that even if we ban those 2 compositions with Conk, those 2 best compositions with Conk, we wouldn't just end up with the next 2 best compositions with Conk. That's the
don't forget Valk too. She'll shake things up.
Oh yeah, she definitely. Yeah, actually, if you pair Conk and Valk, there's a chance for the Conk to lose. I think we could make that a comp. I think.
Yeah, that'd be more exciting.
Yeah. Sweep is a big move in 2v2.
Can we just play that clip of Kihu and Legion
We can definitely play
over and over
We can
again.
definitely play it in a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I think that's gonna be about it for the 2v2 tournaments. It doesn't take really much time to talk about them. We already said who won. And yeah, like the one, as I said, like the one issue I could potentially see with doing it the way we kind of all want to, I think, at least here, all want to do is that, yeah, hopefully that we wouldn't just end up with the next two best compositions for Kong specifically. But maybe like something like Nobushi Warlord, for example, Kensei Warlord, maybe Nobushi Warlord and Kensei Warlord, something like that would maybe be still good, or still capable of competing with the two best Kong, or the next two best Kong compositions. So okay, so I think for the 2v2 tournaments, that's about it. Now, if I get this correctly, will I? Defend the Nerf. Okay, so Defend the Nerf. I don't remember much of it because I was drinking, and it's gonna be difficult to talk about it. But I did want to mention it because it was the biggest LAN since the Hero Series, right? Since either of the Hero Series. Yeah, and it was in New York City. I think it was a PS4 LAN, and Clutchmeister won, who is a PC player, of course. He went over there and he won. Who was second? Noah C. Freaks and Geeks, I guess this is in-game name. Freaks and Geeks, who is a PS4 Nobushi, and SM Raptor, who is an Xbox Nobushi, got third place. So those were I don't remember the other ones. Those were the ones who ended up placing the highest and ended up getting prize money. I think there was prize money for the first 3 places. And so I wanted to talk about, first of all, about something like okay, let me say it like this. I want to talk about guard switch bug on console, actually, because we saw Clutch against Raptor. I ended up rewatching the VODs. We watched Raptor against Clutchmeister, which was Nobushi against Zerker, and Raptor was mostly just blocking fine. Of course, not as well blocking as well as he could on PC, but he was blocking attacks, which is not what I was expecting, to be honest. And then on top of that, I just want to talk about Clutch, I guess, coming in and just winning a tournament in what I think 2 weeks of practice on controller and on console at all. And to end it, I want to talk about, because seemingly a lot of console players are going to be coming to PC soon. So I just wanted to, I guess, maybe shout them out, I guess, for the ones that we do know are going to be coming. So before we do all of this, maybe I can not fuck up this time and have the correct overlay. All right, and then which one? Which one is is it this one? There we go. Okay. So we got the Defend the Nerf VOD on screen. Okay, so Crack, because I know you play on console as well, right? You play on PS4?
Yeah, I play PS4 from time to time.
Yeah, so what do you think of because I know you play a lot of 44 scrims and things like that. You probably don't play 1v1 or anything like that, but
I played a little bit, not a whole lot on console, the ones.
Alright, so what do you think about the guard switch bug? Do you think, like, obviously it's a bug, so it should be removed, but do you feel like it helps a lot on console against characters like Zerker or Orochi, or do you feel like those attacks should just hit anyway, kind of thing?
I mean, if you think about how it benefits you on PC,
Yeah.
and then multiply that benefit by a lot.
Oh, you think it's even better on console?
It's far more, because of the difficulty on console of dealing with assassins like Zerkers, especially, let's say if you run into a Zerk console who can delay their lights properly, and God forbid he's got a bit of latency.
A Wi-Fi warrior.
Without the guard switch bug there, even on static guard, it can be pretty messy. So I think it makes a much bigger difference on console than it does on PC, because I don't. It's like obviously not healthy.
Yeah, of course.
For the game, but it makes a bigger difference. I was surprised by how much people were able to block.
Yeah.
Clutch. I was really, really surprised when I saw it, because I hadn't thought about it beforehand.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to land a lot of soft feints.
Yeah, like I think you could tell the difference between Raptor and Freaks and Geeks, Frickson didn't seem to know maybe about the guard switchback. Maybe I'm wrong here, but he definitely wasn't blocking nearly as well as Raptor was, and he just kind of melted against Zerker. But Raptor was doing pretty well against him, with the guard switchback. So I guess we could see the difference there. So yeah, like I think we had Fusion on the other day, or the other podcast, and we actually just did talk about this a little bit. And he said as much as it helps, it should be removed. Obviously, it's a bug. But it is interesting to see how console has changed from, when it was 2v2 back in like May or April last year, when they would play Valk and those kind of characters in 2v2 or in 1v1 as well, to actually having a proper meta right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can see console progressing. Like if you're someone yourself or anyone else who's kind of watched or played PC and console, you can actually see like console slowly like catching up a little bit faster to how people play on PC. Like more emphasis on spacing and using characters that are the veteran ones instead of seeing like pre-rework of Valk and stuff like this.
Okay, Scary, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just gonna say about the guard switch bug. I hope let's practice a bit for Defend the North. So, I play various heroes against his Zerk and his Highlander or whatever. And yeah, it was a huge, huge difference to how much I could block, because it's console, it's cross-region. Clutch and I are known to not have good connection to each other at all. And I could generally block him okay. Of course, I would be getting hit by the 400 MS lights fairly often just because of all those factors against me, but I could block a pretty large amount of them. And meanwhile, when he's dealing with all those factors, the cross-region, the console, all of that, he couldn't even block my 500 MS attacks on reaction. Most of the time. Like he could occasionally, but like most, maybe it would just hit him. So me having Celigard and him being an assess, you could really, really see the difference.
Okay.
So I had a quick point. So earlier it mentions, I think Crack did, about how the console meta has kind of slowly evolved. Do you guys think a lot of that is contributed directly to this bug of the static guard switching, or do you think it's also maybe less or more so just them watching PC players and stuff and just learning?
Well, I think personally, and of course if others disagree then let me know, but I think it's like, I think the scenes have started to merge a lot more now, with some console players being already coming to PC. Like Ravelord came to PC almost a year ago. A little bit less than a year ago, but almost a year ago. And since then we've had some competitive console players come to PC, like Mamba Fusion, of course, from Xbox. And on top of them coming and kind of being on PC, we also got a lot more console players talking to us. Like if you look at For Glory, a year ago there would not be a single console player there, but these days you can, they're just part of the community, so they interact. So I think the scenes or the communities have, maybe not fully, but they have started to merge. And as I said at the intro, I guess, for this topic, a lot more console players are going to be coming to PC. For example, Itachi, who is one of the best, as far as I know. Maybe I'm wrong here, but as far as I know, he's one of the best PS4 players, and he's gonna be coming to PC, I think, in like a week or something, in a few days at least. I think he ordered his PC parts already or whatever, so should be coming anytime soon. And other players I know are planning on coming as well. I don't know if they end up coming. Like for example, Freaks and Gigs, I know is planning to go on PC. I don't know if he's given any particular date or anything. I think he said just soon. But Freaks and Gigs is the one who got second place in this tournament, so it'd be interesting to have him on as well. So I think. And obviously, guard switchback helps a lot, in any mode, especially, well, actually, no, any mode. It helps in any mode. and I feel like now as I'm watching them, some PS4 scrims and things like that, because they are streamed now finally, so I can see some console scrimmage. I do see more the basic skills like external guarding and things like that are being utilized more correctly. Not quite to the level that they really need to be at the highest level, but it does feel like the basic skills that are super important are being used much better now. And whatever the reason that may be, for whatever reason that may be, it's really nice to see people just improve and actually play at a higher level.
It does seem like it is a combination of the guard switch bug obviously helping people react, which forces people to pick more meta viable characters. But I think there's a lot of truth to the console scene, the PC scene merging together more and sharing information. I think definitely both of those.
Yeah, well, Crack, as a player who's on both PS4 and PC, what do you think?
Like, I understand the point, but Setback is making, like, if it is easier to defend on console via the guard switch bug being used, then it brings it closer to how the PC environment, where it is easier to defend. So that will create the environment needed to, like, okay, we're going to have to do something else here because I'm not landing attacks with my Shigoki. What's going on? So they pick someone else, sure. So in order to know who to pick, what to do, and all that jazz, they're probably checking out PC stuff, PC tournaments, players like yourself or Score or Clutch or whoever else in the scene, or Setback.
Yeah, Setback,
checking out these kind of people. And they're like, okay, he's using this. And they probably ask a question in stream. And I mean, it's just information being picked up and used over time. And because it hasn't been overnight, it's been over a while. I think the environment was just, they got to a skill level and knowledge level. And then the guard switch bug existing means the environment was right to use PC information to improve their game.
Yeah, okay. So that's, I mean, as I said, like, I think it's really cool that people are improving and that those people who are improving are thinking of coming to PC as well. Because I said Itachi, who's one of the best players. I know of a few other names that I'm not sure if I would say correctly, so I'm not gonna mention. But a lot of people are coming to PC now from console, and a lot have already come and are doing pretty well in general. Like Ray, for example, Mamba Infusion.
I mean, it's really good. It's really good for PC. The PC competitive scene to have people stepping up to try it.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for when the guard switch bug does get fixed? What do you guys think that'll happen to the console scene then?
Well,
I don't think the influence is big enough personally of the guard switch bug. I just think it was maybe one of the catalysts for the it's a faster change of console meta, let's call it, for the sake of argument.
I think it would change 1v1. You would not be seeing as many non-Zerg Orochi. Maybe now, I don't know what else character that's like super good with super quick attacks. I guess those Zerg, Orochi, and obviously Kong. I think you would not be seeing characters that are not that too much. Just because, well, Kong can defend with his different option selects and things like that. And then you have Orochi and Zerker, who on console with no guard switch bug will always pretty much hit their attacks, as long as of course the Orochi and Zerker are delaying their attacks and they're good to mix them up every now and then, so as not to get parried. But I feel like that would be the biggest change, because right now, for example, we're watching in the I think it was like the losers finals or something like that on Defender North. We're watching a Nobushi mirror, but I think with guard switch bug, I don't think that would happen. For example, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason I don't play a Berserker in ranked Grandmaster or any assassin.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would. I didn't mean it wouldn't make any change at all. I just meant as regards with respect to the console learning from PC situation.
Okay, so for Defender North again, just wanted to make sure that this is known that Clutch, the player from PC, won the tournament. I don't know how much the prize pool was. I think it was like 600 for the first place or something like that. But either way, he won the tournament. Freaks and Geeks, who's NoSC on YouTube, if you want to see more of him, got second place as Nobushi. and SM Raptor or SM Velociraptor, I guess, on the screen right here. He got third place as Nobushi as well, so there were 2 Nobushis in top 3. In top 8 there was there was some different characters. There was an aggressive Lawbringer who made us drink a little bit, because we had the rule every time a Lawbringer goes aggro and wins a round, we take a shot, and he made us take some shots.
Dude, aggro Lawbringer nearly killed people that day.
Yeah. I think there was a Shaman, I think there was a Shinobi in top 8 as well. I didn't remember the other ones, but I think well, obviously there was like two other people who were probably playing pretty good characters as well. I think there was a Wang Kong as well in top 8, and one X character. I don't remember the last one, but yeah, there was a decent amount of variety, so hopefully people liked watching it. But then again, I was looking at the chat on Team Spooky's channel, and it is 1v1 after all, so people weren't that happy. There was a lot of resident sleepers in chat. So I was.
I didn't actually notice that myself. Although I wasn't paying too much attention to Spookies, I thought people were enjoying it.
I mean, I hope they were. Yeah.
Yeah, to me it looked like Team Spooky chat was kind of interested in it. It seemed to think that the game looked somewhat interesting.
All right. Well, that was the case. That's great. Okay, so I think that's it for the Defender nerf. If we had anyone who wasn't Defender nerf, we could be able to talk about it a little bit more, but the people I tried to reach out to couldn't make it today, so unfortunately we kind of stuck with this discussion, which I hope was still interesting.
I mean, stuck with this.
Oh, we have.
Wasn't your first choice?
No. Don't worry about setback.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if I don't mess this up, we will be talking, I think, about season 7. Usually we take a break in the middle, but I think we're fine not taking a break, as it's only been 30 minutes anyway. So now we'll be talking about ranked. So season 7 introduced the Warden rework, Bulk rework, ranked rework, and a new map. The new map is a fucking maze. It's a great map. I love it.
It's a great duel map.
Oh, it's
the ladder meta is going to be really interesting to follow in duels, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm really hoping that we get to see some more 1v1s on the ladders. Hey, let me see if I don't mess this up. Season 7, okay. So yeah. Oh, Kinsey's is in the chat. He's gonna be ready for some rank discussion.
His therapist told him not to talk about it.
Okay. It's gonna be slightly sad for you, Kinsey, but yeah. So season 7, as I said, introduced a new map, which is the damn maze, but you cannot play it in Dominion, so it doesn't matter much for competitive. We played it in a 2v2 tournament yesterday, and every time it's such a huge map for 2v2 that every round we could find a new place to fight in. It was great. I loved it, but yeah, so it cannot be used in Dominion, but I don't know how good it is for elimination or for Tribute. I wouldn't know. Is it playable in Tribute, actually? Scar, do you know, or Crown?
Yeah, you can play it in Tribute.
Okay.
But you need to be really careful in playing it in Tribute, because you might get lost and not find your way back, so exercise caution.
Okay, yeah, you have to be very careful. But okay, so for ranked, the new system, the way it works is there's masters and GM now, and at master and of course at GM you have what's called skill rating. It's literally just MMR, and after 14 days of an activity, your MMR starts dropping, and if you go below 0 skill rating, you are kicked into Diamond 5 again. Grandmaster is top 100. And we were told it's going to be on region based. I'm pretty sure that's what the dev said. Sebag appreciating the
God damn it! Every time I see it,
do it for him. Crack has a good motivation to make it to GM. But yeah, Grandmaster is top 100 of master players. So if there's it's top 100 of master players, which is important because I think there's still not 100 players on GM and Xbox. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, if you drop below 100, below 0 skill rating, you get kicked from masters. and the top 100 is worldwide. You cannot play with other people from other regions, but the ranking itself, the leaderboards themselves, are worldwide. So that's the idea. But the issue is actually before I go to that, Crack, since you played a lot of ranked and as well, I'm sure Seba has a lot to say as well. So Craig, what has been your experience with ranked so far?
I like it more than I expected. But
really?
On a fundamental level.
After
the leaderboard and there being divisions, and I like that.
Okay. After talking to you a bit about ranked in the past, I wasn't expecting you to say those words, but
I wasn't expecting to. I hate it, and I hate and like Jules ranked. I don't know how to explain it. But once you go any bit deeper at all, like people fucking DCing and denying me wins on the last round, and fucking losing 2,000 score for dying to a GM 94 for some reason, and I don't know, man. After a couple hours, it's like I gotta go. 200 points a game, again 16 matches, 4 were people DC'd.
Okay.
It's a long climb up from when I fell to Diamond 4.
See,
but I keep coming back.
See, the thing is, it doesn't have to be a long climb, because Ubisoft thought about this. You know, they were not okay with being a long climb, and so now the way to climb is to make a new account, and then you can automatically climb by you know, playing new players and getting Grandmaster, and then, you know, winning 2 games and being top 1.
I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool that there's an alternative there added.
Yeah, I like when we compared. You told me about your numbers on the Zero Crack alt.
Yep, I played. I played on Zero Crack's second account, and I think I played a Rep 1 unranked player, and I got 2,500 MMR. And so from a very low master player, like 200 I think skill rating, I jumped to mid GM. And then I won 3 more games. I think the account ended up being, somewhere in the top 30s, 40s. So
yeah, I mean, I compared it. What really made me annoyed is, like, I compared it to mine, which made it worse.
Yeah.
So you got 2,500. So for me, my average like score for like one day, like across all the wins, was 200 points a win. So I had to win 12 and a half matches, let's say, for that one match that you won, and I had to win them all back to back in GM to get this equivalent, you know, reward for my work.
Well, see, the issue is, again,
and that fucking made me stop playing.
See, the issue is you're playing on an account that is not new. That's an issue. Scott, do you have anything to say about the ranked?
Yeah, I'm just gonna explain a bit more to people watching about what you guys are talking about here. Okay, so when the system is trying to place you, the more games you play, the better of an idea it has of what rank you should be. So if you have not yet played very many ranked games, you're going to have much bigger gains and losses because it still doesn't quite know where to put you, so it's going to move you around quicker. And so if you've already played ranked a lot, you've placed, now you might need like 100 or more games of straight wins to go from the bottom of Masters to #1 GM. Whereas if you have an account where you haven't played ranked yet, it doesn't quite know where to put you. You get bigger gains and losses. You could get to the top very easily. And the reason why this is an issue at all is, for some reason, they allow you to be placed anywhere out of your placements. There's no limit where you can be placed. So you finish your 15 placement matches, and now you're #1 Grandmaster, which actually happened.
Yeah.
When Kihu finished his placements, he was placed at #1 Grandmaster. So there needs to be some kind of limit there, you know, like, let's say Plat 5 at most you can be placed in. So then when you climb through Diamond, now the ranked system has more time to settle your rank, to figure out how much you win and lose and everything. So, and then not only do you have to climb through Diamond, now you're starting at the bottom of Master. You know, you get to Master and you get 0 points, and you got to climb up that instead of just immediately placing into Masters with like 8,000 points or whatever.
Yeah, and also on top of that, by the time you get to Masters, your MMR is already stable, so you won't be getting 1k, 2k wins, right?
Like there needs to be some limit on where you can play.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking Diamond, but then if you place Diamond, well then now you're already in Master if you play 2 more games. So yeah, Plat 5 makes much more sense.
Yeah, Plat sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, so before we go to the leading thing, because that's definitely has to be talked about. Setback, as the 6th best player in the world, what do you think about the ranking system?
I think it's perfect.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, so you tell us about your situation, Setback. What was your win rate, and how much skill rating did you end up with on that 6th place in the Grandmaster after placements?
I played just my placement games. I fought the big duelist known as Baxter, I think 6 times or so. And my overall win-loss was 13 wins and 2 losses. 2 of those were to Baxter.
Okay.
And immediately placed me at Grandmaster rank 6, and I immediately changed my stream title to reflect that.
That's good. That's good.
And yeah, that was my experience. I don't remember exactly what the numbers was. I think it was just below 6,000 or something like that, which was pretty high.
That's pretty high.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting system. I think what Score said would fix a vast majority of the issues with it. Actually, just not allowing people to place beyond platinum.
Yeah.
I don't really actually see any other major issues other than what we're about to talk about.
Yeah. So, is it possible to look?
I mean, other than that, it's 1v1.
That's an issue as well. So at the end of the discussion, I want to talk about that. What could be made for other modes, right? But so, I don't know if you can look at the leaderboards outside of the game. I don't want to go into the game right now because that would take too much time. I don't think we can, but if you look at the leaderboards, there's some players you may not recognize there, and not all of them, but actually I think maybe you can look at the leaderboards on Crack Stream. Can we? Did you start at the very beginning of the leaderboards? Give me a second.
You can see it there, yeah.
Give me a second. I have to go back a little bit, but either way, you can see some peculiar names, and then you can maybe rank. Maybe you can get them in ranked if you're high enough to be able to get them. For example, 3rd best player in the world according to the system. 10,000 skill rating, so he must be amazing. Leaves every game he loses, and the issue with that is it doesn't give them any penalty as long as he does it correctly. As long as he task managers it, he just leaves. As long as he task managers it, he doesn't lose anything. And so he's allowed to just every time he wins, he stays. Of course, he gets his points, and so he's climbing up the ranks. He's getting more MMR despite losing every time he plays a good player. And this is targeted, I guess. I mean, you can see his name right there, and if you play around Master GM level, you probably got him, and you probably, as long as you're EU, and you know what happens every time he loses. And it's not just him. There's a lot of other people like that. And also, if you look at the Grandmaster ranking, a lot of them are olds. My ult is there. Just fuck it, why not? And so you have, let's say, out of the 100 people who are 100 spots for GM, you have, let's say, 20 olds, maybe 15 olds, and you have 20-30 people who just leave every game. They lose. So you have maybe 50 spots in GM. Maybe 55, and that's worldwide as well, not region based. Of course, you cannot play people from NA if you're EU, but the rankings themselves are not region, are worldwide. And so now you have, as I said, like 50, 60 players spots in GM, and you can't, like, if you're not, you're supposed to be top 100 players, right? But if you're not top 50, you're not making it in. as long as you're not playing on a new account. If you're playing on a new account, you can be really bad and just make it in by playing placement matches against new players and getting Grandmaster, which is great. But if you're not on a new account, now you cannot make it to GM because there's 50 spots, and if you're not top 50, you cannot make it because you're gonna be losing against those top 100 players.
I would add, I learned it doesn't have to be like a new account. It can be an alt that hasn't been played in a long time.
Yeah,
will still
sure.
give you huge boosts to your scores.
Yeah.
After wins and placements.
Yeah. Yep. And so the lever thing is one of the bigger issues because it allows players who are not deserving of the spot whatsoever to leave every game they lose nothing for that, and of course stay in every game they win. And so they're only going up. It's impossible for them to lose rank. And MMRDK or anything like that, that doesn't work because they're still winning games. Every time they win, they stay in the game. They get their wins, and they get their MMR. But every time they lose, they just leave the game. And so it's not possible for them to go any lower. It's only possible for them to go up. And so that renders the entire ranking system irrelevant and useless and looking at who's actually good at the game, which is the idea of a ranking system and having a leaderboard. And that needs to be changed ASAP. Like this, I don't know how this has been allowed to exist still, because this was still a thing in the previous iteration of Ranked. You could just leave the game if you knew how to do it. And how Ubisoft didn't think of this is beyond me. This is one of the reasons why Ranked is just not really playable if you're not playing on a new or old account. I think Havoc posted a clip of the player I was talking about just leaving a game if he loses. As someone in the chat said, I think you should be able to place Diamond 5 as the highest possible placement, and the issue with that is, as I said before, if you place Diamond 5, you win one game, you're in Masters. You win second game, you're GM. You win third game, you're top 50 or something like that. Because of the way your MMR is not stabilized. It's not stable. So if you place in Plat, well, if you're a really good player, you're going to be able to cruise through Diamond pretty quickly in a decent amount of games. Let's say, 5-10 games, you can cruise through Diamond. But until you get Masters, by the time you get Masters, your MMR is now stable, and so you're not getting 2k skill rating for every win, or you're not getting an entire league for a win, or an entire league loss for a loss. Okay, so that's the lever thing. And now, well, the ranking system is 1v1, but 1v1 is not a competitive mode in For Honor. So, what could be done for maybe Brawl, maybe 2v2 ranked, or especially for 4v4 ranked? What could be done to make those modes actually played? Thank you, Alanakin, for hosting Craig's stream with 30 different viewers, poggers. So what could be done for those modes? 2v2 has been asked a lot, and I was actually expecting if they remove 4v4, well then add a 2v2 rank system, and 2v2 is still not a good mode, but at least I'm sure a lot of people play that, but of course that's not being added, at least not right now. And yeah, for 4v4 and 2v2, if 2v2, but at least 4v4, what do you guys think should be done? Does anyone have any other ideas?
I think systemically they should fix the system for 1v1 mode now. Because if the system itself worked fine, then they could use the same one in the other modes if they want. If they make those other modes first without fixing this system, then they're just going to be plagued by the same issues.
Well, of course, but assuming
there's leaderboards,
yeah, of course, assuming leaderboards are like being placed into GM gets fixed, being leaving not mothering really being fixed. Well, then what to do to make 4v4, for example, ranked played, or 2v2 ranked played?
I think for 4s it should be solo queue, duo queue maybe, and for 2s I would say solo or duo is fine for 2s. Not sure on that one.
Yeah, well, I think for 2v2, like if we want to make 2v2 a ranked mode, I think both.
You think only duos?
I think both are fine, but as long as it's the same for 4v4, like my thinking. I think for 4v4, solo queue and duo queue both are fine, as long as we have enough people to be able to place, for example, 2 duos against 2 duos instead of 2 duos against 4 solo queues. Right? If we have enough people for that, then I think that's the best solution. But if we don't have enough people for that, it should only be solo queue, 4v4 that is. But then 2v2, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that should be played out, if that wants to be a ranked mode, but...
Yeah, I mean, you can see Danny in chat going 4v4 is about team play, but like it's just something you cannot avoid now. Is people will not play the game mode if they're just being queued into competitive fours teams who've been playing together for a year. They just won't do it. They will not do it.
It's also just getting 3 other people to queue with you in a game like this is gonna be a big time struggle.
Well, I think the biggest problem is gonna be getting other 4 people to queue into your 4-stack. Right? Because if you're in a 4-stack, there is no way you should be getting, for example, duo queue players or solo queue players, right? So then it would have to be a separate playlist where you go as a 4-stack against other 4-stacks. But you're not gonna be able to find games in that. There's no way people play ranked so much for ranked in a 4-stack, so much that they would be able to you would be able to have an actual ranking system for that, right? So I think it should be solo queue only at first, and if we have enough people, then we could change it to maybe solo queue and duo queue. And I think on top of all of that, I think there should be a lot more. There should be some kind of reward, obviously, because otherwise people are not going to play it as much as they would otherwise. So, one idea that I liked is, for example, having ranked points. That's you can use as a currency to buy ornaments, for example, or buy any kind of cosmetic that you want for playing for ranked or 1v1 ranked as well. Or something like that, or maybe just
So basically, just like incentives, like what incentives could Ubisoft create, or what systems could they create to incentivize players to actually queue up for this stuff?
Yeah, for 1v1 we have the leaderboards, we have the ranked rewards, and we have it being 1v1, so you only have to have yourself to play, right? But then in 4v4, of course, if it's solo queue only, well, then of course you can. Play by yourself as well, but there needs to be that other part, right? Like there is in 1v1 leaderboards and there are ranked rewards, for example, right? So well, then what would there be for 4v4? Because if we have the same thing for 4v4 as we have for 1v1, there's gonna be, I feel like, too many modes that give the same rewards. So the rewards are gonna be given out in the first week and a half, 2 weeks, and well, what else? What else are we? How do we make people play past that 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be, assuming, which is a big assumption at this point, but assuming that the matchmaking, and the ranking system was working correctly, we don't have all these issues that are already present in 1v1. Yeah, I think incentivizing people and keeping them playing, that's going to be a huge challenge, and it's going to take more than, I think, just cosmetics, at a surface level to keep people going. Well, like even if they have like special effects, someone mentioned in chat, I think like World of Warcraft having an Overwatch, having stuff like that. There's their kind of systems. That I think that's a good start, but I almost feel like there needs to be more too.
Well,
I think there needs to be some kind of reward for reaching certain ranks.
Yeah, of course.
You get the plat, you get this reward, but you get the diamond. Now you get this reward, master, and so on. That's a big part of every game's rankings. That keeps you fighting for a higher rank. That you get some kind of visual reward to show off your rank.
Yeah, like almost wondering if maybe like a combination. You want that like carrot on a stick, right? That goal that you're aiming for, it keeps you going, but also, people who aren't able to achieve that, if there was some kind of currency you gained and there was a separate pool of rewards that you could spend the currency on exactly what you want, I think that might be the best of both worlds. But yeah, I definitely think there should be, different at certain tiers. There's specific rewards that are only unlocked and given when you achieve that tier. They can't earn it any other way.
What do you guys think of something like, not the same thing as, in Overwatch, after a certain time you get like a gold weapon? And a lot of people play for that. And then we used to be in the Call of Duty games, and I remember people like people who just would casually play like all the time, like this particular way, just to get that gold weapon. Because it was kind of like a trophy, that was actually on their character when they're playing.
Yeah, I think
something like substantial, like a new material color
Ooh,
that is
that's
unlocked.
good.
If you stay in Grandmasters, or I don't know what the what it should be like to make you earn it, the goal or whatever, but something like that is really substantial.
Yeah, I think I think there could be a few things. For example, if you're in Grandmaster, for example, I think it should even if you're not in Grandmaster, but especially if you're in Grandmaster, it should show your rank in normal matchmaking as well, so you can actually show to people that, oh, I'm really good. But then the issue, of course, is, well, if there's a fucking new player playing against the Grandmaster, they're just gonna leave. But then that's the issue of the matchmaking rather than the ranked, right? But
Yeah.
I think something like that would be a nice start, and then you can have things like for reaching, for placing, not placing, sorry, for ending a season in Grandmaster, for example, you get some kind of steal, for example, some amount of steal, and you get some other different reward. Maybe the easier would be something like outlines or emblems, right? That's the obviously the easiest one. Having like a gold, like a really fancy gold outline on your emblem, for example, to show off that you're Grandmaster, but you would already have the rank shown in matchmaking, so I guess that wouldn't even be needed. But yeah, I think something like, if they would, for example, make one really cool looking weapon or something like that for each character, and then you can buy that with enough ranked points that you gain for playing games, and you get more for winning, but it's not tied to rank. I think that would be the best.
That seems like a good idea. A ranked shop or something like that.
Yeah.
With a combination of, I don't know, steal and ranked points. If you want UB to do it and make some money on it.
Yeah. So then you would have rewards for getting placed playing very at a very high level. As in playing Grandmaster, you would get, for example, more steal, and steal is probably not the best incentive, but you would get X thing, for being in Grandmaster at the end of the season. But then also there will be an incentive to play if you're a bronze player. Like, if you're a bronze, silver, gold player, you're not thinking of getting Grandmaster so you can get that cool reward, because that's probably way too much effort for you to put in. But if you get ranked points for playing every game, and for you get more for winning, less for losing, you get the incentive to play better, because you get more for winning, but you can still play at a lower level, lower level. I'm good at English, and you can still enjoy playing ranked without having to get like a really high rank, right? Because you could, for example, get a really cool looking weapon that you want, or something like that. Of course, in Overwatch, do you get more points for like a higher rank for the gold weapons, or how does it work in Overwatch, Sebek?
It's been a while since I played it, but I'm pretty sure you just got points based on the games you played. I'm not 100%
Reckon says
sure,
if you end in a certain rank, you get more. I think that'd be.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, it was end of season. You got rewarded based on what you achieved.
Yeah, I mean that'd be nice.
Highest rank you got.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a nice addition. Like, you still get ranked points for playing at any rank, but you get more for ending a season, for example, in X rank, and then we wouldn't have to have like a different reward for getting GM, for example, in terms of you get 5k steal at the end of the season, or 10k steal, or whatever other thing. But still, like, having a way to show off that you're Grandmaster, for example, in a normal game, matchmaking game, and then adding some different someone in chat. Adding consistently higher rewards to higher rank plays would be a terrible idea. Well, it's not necessarily about the rewards being that much higher. It's about them being like wanted. Like, you want to be, like, I want to be able to play GM and at the end of the season get something for it, kind of thing, right? Because right now there is nothing that I get for being GM.
I mean, there should be some reward. Yeah, I mean, no reward is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why we're saying a combination of rewarding people who excel at the highest level, and have them be recognized for that, and also people who are just playing the ranked mode at all get rewarded in a different fashion. So that way, rewarding both types of players.
Yeah. As someone in chat, seeing all the issues with the ranking system right now, I'd rather they hold off on rewards. Well, this is not for this season. This is for when they finally want to make 4v4 ranked, which is the most competitive mode, a mode, right? And or 2v2 would be the same things, right? But for 4v4 is the focus of the discussion. Okay, so I think that's enough for ranked. We spent a decent amount of time. Overall, I just want to say that it is obviously better than it was before, but it's not good, and it needs those fixes that we talked about, and then 44 ranked hopefully comes one day as well, because that's the main mode that we play competitively. Having some sort of reward for playing ranked, and on top of that having some sort of reward for players who play ranked at a higher level would be great to incentivize both types of players to play. Okay, so I think that's it for ranked. Now we shall move on to Valk. Now for Valk, I messed up the where's the Valk? I think it should be right here. So Valk. Valk, I don't think I'm gonna. Should we be going for changes just in general? I think people know what the changes were. You know, shield crash guaranteeing a light, shield crash not guaranteeing on block anymore, more chains and things like that, and all of Valk's top lights, all of Valk's chain top lights are 400 ms, or the others ones are 500 ms. Sweep is bad. That was a pretty good change as well. Valk heavies deal 24 damage, which is amazing as well. I think Sabag loves that change.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Yes, I love it as well. So those are the changes that I'm sure you all know. But what you may not know is that Valk also got a hidden stance, which looks kind of like this. I'm playing the streamable right now, Sabag.
Okay.
So Valk is capable of having a hidden stance pretty much, which neuters all, or at least most of bash based offense useless. It doesn't neuter Kong 100%. Like, I would still much rather dodge Kong's bashes, honestly. It's the same for Wraith, who's like another really good Valk player. Because first of all, dodging you can always punish, and second of all, there are some things that Kong can do. But either way, it neuters Highlander's offense absolutely useless. There's nothing you can do. It makes Warden's offense pretty useless as well. There's nothing a Warden player can really do to open up a Valk. So, but then on the other hand, Valk cannot do anything to open anyone up either. So it's like a Nobushi situation, but turned even, like, made even worse, because full block doesn't take much stam. It doesn't stop your stamina regen. It doesn't, like, you lose stam on blocked attacks, but well, so what, right? You don't lose. It doesn't cost much stam. There isn't.
It also doesn't. It's terrible at blocking attacks. You're vulnerable when you go into it, and you're vulnerable when you come out of it.
Yeah, but you can use it on bashes. You can use it on a heavy. Anytime you see a heavy coming at you, you full block. There's nothing they can do. Feign to Garbreak whiffs. If they come into the heavy, they now they're vulnerable to the full block. On lies you cannot do it because of course there's a lot of startup to it. So yeah, Warden cannot do anything. Highlander cannot do anything. Kong can do some things, but you can just dodge his bashes or roll his bashes anyway. But that's every character. And their Kensei can't do anything. I don't think there's any other characters because Warlord can do fine with Headbutt and Crashing Charge and things like that. So this is probably the biggest change to Valk, or the biggest thing that Valk has right now. Despite all the changes that they made intentionally to Valk, like sweep changes, shield crash changes, chain changes, nerfing her heavy damage, which was a big issue before. Despite all the changes, this is the biggest thing that Valk has right now. Having like an old Storm Rush fusion set, or a better hidden stance defensively, better hidden stance against bashes specifically. Because against normal, like against mixed, actually against heavies it works as well, so maybe it's pretty much just a hidden stance, but lower punish usually. So this is like the main thing that Valk has. Well then, now if that's removed, which hopefully it is, well then what is Valk left with? A better hidden stance with 12 damage punish? I think I'm pretty sure it's 13, but either way that's not what's important. What's important is that it's 100% safe and it doesn't take much stam. That's what matters more than the punish itself. Yeah, like that matters more than punish itself. Like if I could have a hidden stance that doesn't stop my stamina regen and doesn't take stam, I would be very, very thankful for having 12 damage punishes for everything I do. because right now it's just 100% broken. Hidden Stance is already broken defensively, but this is even better against bashes. Against heavies is pretty much the same as it's the one thing that Hidden Stance is better against is external attacks in 4v4, and it is better against soft feint mix-ups. So something like Shaman, for example, heavy feint heavy soft feint into Guardbreak, for example, or unblockable soft feint into Guardbreak is, Hidden Stance is better against that. But this is just kind of broken, and it doesn't even deal stun damage. It doesn't even take much time. So once this is removed, well, then now Valk becomes absolutely unplayable. Then what else?
Good rework.
Yeah, good rework. So then what should be done to Valk? Sebak, since you play a good amount of Valk, I guess I'll talk about what I think should be done as well. So what do you think should be done to Valk to actually make it a good rework? What do you think?
I mean, so when you're talking about like how viable a character is, an important distinction is what game mode you're referring to, because different things matter for each one. I guess we can start with 1v1s because that's our everyone's favorite game mode. For 1v1, I mean, I don't know, and then score, you can jump in and call me an idiot at any moment. Like the rework, I think it's at a point to where, if they did some numbers tweaks to a good number of her things, I'm talking about like, maybe the recovery on certain things, the speed on certain things, the damage on certain things, just like value tweaks, it would probably could end up in a good place. So I think talking about like sweep being 600 milliseconds still, I think that's terrible. Renders it mostly useless. If it was 500 ms,
with lower damage, of course, right? Yeah. Like if
what's that?
With lower damage, of course, right? Because 500 ms, 35. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's if they change maybe her 24 damage opening heavies, yes.
Yeah.
I think that would probably be the way to go. Maybe make them 28 or 30 on the opening heavies.
That'd be a little bit too much, I think.
Okay, let's go 20.
Let's go 20. I think that'd be better. Yeah. Right now, sometimes I eat a heavy from Valk, and sometimes I die. I think that's unacceptable. Yeah, please go.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you have a bar, you're fine.
Yeah.
Bar of health. Yeah. But yeah, if you have less than a bar, it is frustrating to die from that pretty fast heavy.
Yeah.
So yeah, the sweep is pretty useless. A little bit faster would be nice. But yeah, you can tone up damage. Her nerfing her heavy damage. I have absolutely no idea why that was put in. It's pretty neat. Let's see. The one thing that's kind of odd is her, and it turned out to be like the most interesting part of the rework for me, at least, is her strange side light finishers.
It's the most fun.
Third light. Yeah, I kind of like it. They're very strange and most of the time useless, especially since if the enemy dodges your side lights, your recovery is so bad that you can get guard broken. Yeah. It's very strange. However, I did successfully ledge somebody with a side light the other night, and I have retired from Valkyrie because I will never perform a greater feat.
Yeah, it's definitely the most. I think it's definitely the most fun part, but it's like a really cool thing that you can maybe sometimes do on console, kind of but doesn't really do much like in terms of balance. But yeah, it's really fun.
If with that, I kind of want them to keep it because it's fun to play around with. Like maybe the only change there is to make it so the recovery is just not terrible, because being punished with a guard break because someone dodged a light, that is 500 ms. It does happen with other lights, but like you have to go all the way into the chain to get to that bad boy. So.
I think one nice thing would be if you could cancel the recovery somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe for example with a sweep, if you could sweep after the chain finishers. Well, then now there's like they dodge your light, but if they want to punish you, well then of course. Well, if sweep is 500 ms, that could be maybe too strong a little bit. I'm not sure, but
I mean they could even do the current sweep is 500 ms, but this extra after the finisher sweep could be back to 600.
For example,
ms, something like that.
Yeah, for example. So then you can still cancel your recovery after a light finisher. With the sweep, but then if they dodge the sweep, well then now it's kind of like a Nobushi cake kind of situation, right?
Yeah, or like as a gladiator, you can toe stab to cover a whiff or something like that, but then they could just dodge that.
There'll be the same thing, of course, with lower damage with sweep.
And then so other than those things, like her whole heavy soft feint, just shield crush, it's pretty weak against players with good reactions. Like on a good connection, most other Valkyries, I can like most of the time react to it. I don't have to predict it. It also depends on how much really good water I've had that night.
Okay.
But I don't know if I would change that. You know, I would probably just go through with the other changes we mentioned first and then readdress things. But I think the main takeaway is like the rework overall made her stronger.
In 1v1.
But yeah, in 1v1. And then 2v2 and 4v4, maybe not so much if I actually made her worse in a lot of ways, especially because full block is doesn't actually block very well anymore. That was kind of her one thing she had going for her. But yeah, like I would say just, you know, those suggestions and then at least in 1v1 environment that we just mentioned, and then maybe readdress her and see how she performs.
Okay.
And then I saw Hyperion say something, what I think about making feint or the sweep feintable.
I would,
I don't know about
yeah,
that.
I didn't like that. This is just like, you know, then almost making like a 50-50. If it's like really quick, then well, you know, if it's 600 and then they can just, you know, assuming there's no dodge roll the way it is right now, well, then it's kind of just like a 50-50, and that's not very fun to play against. I think there's some...
like I wouldn't be opposed to it, like super hard or anything, but yeah, I think the other, like the numerical changes first before adding that might bode better.
Yeah, so Scar, you've been ready to talk for a while. What do you think?
Yeah, a lot of setbacks ideas were around the sweep, making the sweep more viable. I don't think that's the right path to take, and it's because of the accessibility of the move. Like, imagine a hypothetical world where the sweep is completely unreactable. If you get to that part of the chain, you have to take a guess. And I still can't imagine it being a good tool at all because it's so hard to get to. You have to do 2 chain attacks to get to that point. You know, whether you do, like, let's say a heavy and they block it, and now, well, you would have to throw out a second heavy and they have to block that one, or you have to hope to hit a light somehow.
Well, if you hit a shield crash, that's after the light.
You're not going to hit a shield crash. That's the thing. Well, it's going to get dodged.
Well, then one of the things that you could do is make shield crash a little bit better, right? If it was guaranteed.
Yeah, exactly. That's the path. That's what I'm saying here. The path is not to make sweep better, because, like, of course, sweep has to be better because right now it's completely worthless. But making sweep better by itself won't fix her.
Yeah, I was going to talk about having the shield crash back on blocked, having the shield crash guaranteed on blocked heavy as it was in the past. Maybe if that ends up being somehow too strong, well then make it so that it's only on the second heavy or something like that. That's guaranteed or something. But right now the shield crash is always going to be dodged, and it will always. And sorry, Scarlet, I just kind of took your time, but right now shield crash is, even if you can't react to it, you don't have to do anything because you just have to dodge an indicator, and there is nothing Bal can do.
That's a good point.
Dodge, like a heavy feint to guard break. You just count the guard break. You don't even have to roll. Shield crash, they're just gonna dodge with that timing. Heavy feint to light, they can just block or even sometimes parry it. Heavy feint to heavy, well, of course they can parry that. Well then, or block it, obviously. Well then, how do you get a shield crash? That's the question, right? So, Scarso, I can keep going.
Yeah, like bringing back the guarantee on block in some way would help her a ton for sure. That would be a good step, and just it would bring back a lot of her flow that she's now missing. Like, but pre-rework, if you asked me to like describe Valkyrie in a few words, I would say that she had a lot of mix-ups, albeit bad mix-ups, and a lot of flow between them. And now, like, there's none of that there. She's like a completely different hero and not really any better.
Yeah, like that's the whole like I almost wanted, you know, like the rework to be, well, before they even announced the rework, I was thinking, you know, like tweaking her numbers because the kit was there, right? It's just all of it was useless.
Yeah.
So if the kit actually had the numbers to back it up, damage and speed wise, it would have been pretty decent, at least in ones. And then I guess she had the all block shenanigans in 44, which was good CC, and it was hard to punish her out of it. But so yeah, it's like you said, he put a really well score. She had really good flow. It's just, between these combos, but the combos are useless. But now it's like she has no flow, and the stuff she got doesn't flow well together and is still useless. So in a lot of ways, it stepped back. But yeah, like the whole, I noticed that when I was doing Valkyries the other night with the whole, heavy feint into guard break not working if you just dodge an indicator. And then even if you let the heavy rip, right? If they dodge, what is it you dodge into the heavy, I think.
Yeah, as long as they have their guard there. Yeah, that's the most important part, right? Like if you throw a left side heavy, if they have their guard in that direction, then they don't really.
Well, I think the heavy just whiffs. I think it's the maybe it's from the if you maybe it's the opposite. Maybe if you dodge away from it, it whiffs, but if you dodge into it, you just block it if your guard's in that direction.
I think if you.
But anyway,
go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I think if you dodge at the correct timing, you dodge everything. And if you mess up the timing a little bit, you block the heavy. I think that's how it works.
Yeah. So like I don't know what score would you think about maybe making her if you just let the heavy rip if it catches those dodge and indicators or something like that, because right now the only thing you can do on people dodge an indicator is heavy feint and then light poke them.
Well. As I said before, that goes back to the problem of then if the sweep is too inaccessible, so it doesn't matter that the heavy is hitting their block or anything because you're not getting anything out of that but chip damage. There needs to be a guarantee on block again that you used to have.
Yeah, that would make her a lot better, and then you can make the sweep better. And now you've got, they block your heavy, you get 13 damage, you get the 13 damage or whatever it is, I think it's 13, right? Plus the chip damage, it's like 16, 17. And then you've got the mix-up, right, of the now good sweep, 400 MS top light maybe, right? Or just a normal heavy or something like that into Shield Crush again. So you can keep going with that. You don't just they don't just block your heavy and now no one cares. Well, now they block your heavy and now they have to care. They eat the 16, 17 damage, and there's a mix up. So she's actually good in 1v1 specifically, because in 4v4 that obviously wouldn't be enough to make her good, but it would still be nice, but wouldn't be enough to make her good. But then of course there's some other ways to make her good in 4v4.
Yeah, I mean 4v4. If we could change topic, because I want to talk about her in 4v4. So before 3 she had 2 good tools in 4v4. Her forward dash slide attack, very quick, tons of range, just didn't let people get away from her. So she could always chase people down, always keep people in a fight, always punish things effectively with it. And then she had her charged full block to knock people down, and people would get revenge from it, but you would still guarantee a lot of damage from it. And once her revenge runs out, then they would just be dead. So she had these 2 tools, and now one of them got removed. She can no longer charge the full block, and nothing else was added in terms of 4v4 tools.
Yeah, what did they say? Didn't they say it would feel much too strong on an already strong hero? I think in the blog post, I think that was the wording they used for the reason for that change, which is interesting. But
yeah, I don't know. But I mean, the new chains marginally help in 4v4. New chains always marginally help there, but it's not a main selling point for a 4v4 viability.
Yeah.
And actually, I forgot, she did get one other thing. Bloodlust has been fixed, her tier 2 feat.
Actually works.
It makes her take half damage and deal 50% more damage for, I think it's 10 seconds after getting a kill.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good feat on her, because with that forward dash light, she's really good at finishing people off if you're trying to escape from your teammates. And that procs of Bloodlust, and then she's like a real hero for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So actually, I haven't done 4v4 scrims yet with her, so I don't know if that offsets the full block nerf in 4v4 enough. But it potentially could be. It's a really good feat, especially when combined with Javelin, the tier 3, because, well, Javelin, if you're looking at the Valk, it's perfectly reactable. But let's say you aim it at someone fighting one of your teammates. So your teammate's fighting a guy, and then you Bloodlust Javelin, I mean, you just nuked him for 75. It's a big turning point in a team fight.
Yeah.
So it could end up being pretty good. But yeah, I'm not even sure what to give her in 4v4 that could help her.
I think one thing that would help her is, along all of those other changes for like 1v1 specifically, revenge changes, like to make it so that bashes don't give as much revenge in 1v1, and things like that would make her actually be able to then maybe 1v1 people or something like that in Dominion, or something like that. And then at least then she would have that. And obviously, like, then assuming things like dodge, unlog into roll or sprinting away are fixed, because if they're not, then obviously that doesn't really matter if you can 1v1 someone or not, because you can't 1v1 anyone. But I think that, and then not sure what else. Yeah, I already like how right now sweep works is that you cannot pop revenge before the 35 damage punish hits you if you get hit by the sweep. So that's something, but of course sweep is not very good. If sweep was made good, then of course the damage would be lower than 35 as well. So that's at least would be something if sweep was made good. But I don't think that would be enough to make her really good in 4v4. So I'm not sure what else would be nice. No idea. Like, setback, maybe do you have any things for 4v4 for Valk? Like,
not really. Like, it's like what makes a good 4v4 character has never been Valk, so. She had the things Scorbrand to talk about, which helped her out a lot. At least be useful occasionally, but I don't know. Like, I don't do competitive fours,
yeah.
So
like I like playing Valk right now. Like, I do find her more fun just because people can't react to Shield Crash. But when people can react to Shield Crash, she obviously is not very fun at all. I'm not sure what could be given to her for 4v4. Like, I do think that making revenge, making those revenge changes would help her a little bit, assuming that unlog into roll and like sprinting away, all those issues that persist in the game are fixed. At least she would be able to 1v1 people with those changes. Also, like, Shield Crash guaranteeing a heavy guaranteeing a Shield Crash on block, not on hit though. I think that on hit would be too strong, but on block guaranteeing the Shield Crash into a good sweep mix up, and having sweep like prevent revenge activation. With a lower punish, but of course, teammates there to combine with the punish. But then, like, for the sweep, you still have to most likely hit blocked heavy into Shield Crash, into sweep, which is 2 bashes, which in a 2v1 scenario is not gonna work. Obviously, they're gonna get revenge. Yeah. Her feats, of course, are good, but where do you get that last part of her to needed to be a good character? What do you because her right now her chain top lights have actually pretty good tracking. I don't know how much you play 4v4 setback, but yeah, they have really good tracking, they have really good range, maybe more so than tracking even. And the side ones have good tracking, the top ones have good range. It's, I think, the way it works, at least for the finishers. But then you need something to be able, like, she's good at chasing people down. She's good at finishing people with the sweep if the sweep is good. She's good at throwing spears at people with the javelin, right? She's good at being a good hero for a while with Bloodlust, but that's not enough to make a character really good. So then she would need to be good at like one more thing, I think, to be able to be actually played.
Now, this is a crazy idea,
Okay.
so bear with me
Okay.
here, but I do have an idea for, as you said, one more thing to give her. Now, what
Okay, what
if you held her full block for a while?
Okay.
When you released it, it knocked people down.
I think that'd be much too strong on an already strong hero.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I do like where you're going with this though, I think.
Can they even like code that into the game? That seems pretty
Yeah, that seems
technical.
That seems very, very difficult. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not sure. I think the conclusion for this is we're not sure for the Valk. For 1v1, I think we're all pretty much in agreement here. Crack hasn't been talking much, but I think he just hates Valk at this point.
I have an idea.
You have an idea? Okay, what's the idea?
Yeah, a thought came to me.
Yeah.
Valk's got a short pin via her deflect.
Yeah.
What if that was incorporated into her chains? Would be able to set off combinations working with teammates. That would have to be well timed.
I'm not sure how that would work though, right?
I have no idea how. I just told you how to thought.
Thank you.
And that
Craig.
also require the enemy to push buttons too.
I mean, I'm seeing access without having to deflect.
Oh. So
Maybe
like
some form of unblockable pin. I do not know.
So almost like a toe stab, but a shoulder stab.
Yes,
A shoulder stab.
shoulder stab.
Maybe if we make it chargeable, feintable, and you can feint it when the pin hits their forehead. Maybe that would be good.
Yeah, and then also maybe if you can like jump backwards and in your shield and charge it and then knock people over.
Oh, and then if you that sounds like a pretty good idea. So speaking of Warden, yeah, now we'll be going to Wardonis, because I think we will not end up talking much more about Valk. For 1v1 we already talked about all the things I think that we at least think of, and then for V4 it's like we're not really sure what to do to make her actually really good. But now Warden, so I'm not exactly sure what footage I should put up. I'm just having the our 1v1 set back on the screen right now. Not sure if there's anything else. If anyone in chat, for example, maybe have anything like that, but we'll see. So Warden, I'm sure again you know the changes. I would like it if maybe I could have the. God, is there maybe anyone who has, or maybe anyone here on the podcast, have the streamable of Warden being able to slide? Is that a thing that I could find maybe? Because that's a big part of why she's really, really strong. I mean him. I'm still in the Valk situation mindset. Okay, so.
Well, Warden can be both.
Warden can. Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, that is actually true. It can be both. Am I looking at the correct thing? Oh yeah, this is it. Is it? Yeah. So look at what this is, right? I can make this even a little bit better, but yeah, this is how sliding works with Warden. So you can start. This used to be in the game back in the day, and now it has been reintroduced as a feature, I'm sure, for Warden. So you can start your shoulder bash. You can charge it. You can start going with it to bait the reaction. You can stop midway. You can stop mid slide. And as same as for Valk, by the way, like I assume that you guys know the changes. Anyone who's watching, I assume you know the changes when you play the game, right? So for the changes themselves, we will not be probably talking as much. The unblockable heavy, I guess, zone, and most of all shoulder bash changes. I'm sure you know all of them. So the biggest part of Warden right now feels like he's extremely safe at the range, and he can just kind of spam shoulder bash at you, waiting for you to do something, and when you do something, he can punish you or something. It's kind of the idea. Whenever I play Setmix, or pretty much Setmix, so he's been the one Warden I play semi frequently. That's kind of been what he does. He just kind of sits at the range, he never commits to a bash, because if he commits, I can gap break him, and I can actually deal damage to my opponent, which is not something we want in For Honor. So he's sitting there, just kind of waiting for me to do something, and once I do something, he can punish me. And if I roll, of course, he can punish me with his dash heavy as well. So this is kind of that's kind of Warden. This clip is kind of Warden. It's kind of it. There isn't much more to the hero. I'm not sure if there's again any good VODs of Warden. So we might just have to end up watching this streamable for the hour. No, okay, I'm gonna play something else, but just wanted to show you guys that this is kind of Warden, right? Although Sabmix usually stays at the bigger range, he's kind of on the other side of the map, but I'm still in his range because dash heavy and the charge bash have some nice tracking. So for 1v1 for now, how is Warden, do you guys think, in terms of strength, and then in terms of balance, in terms of strength, and then in terms of design? And if anyone would like to start. Sabek?
I'm the biggest idiot here, so I can start, and then smarter people can correct me. So for 1v1, he seems extremely safe, and he kind of has, like, that's basically what you said, right? Is at medium to long range, he can safely just keep spamming shoulder barge, and he'll just wait for you to do something, and he technically has an answer for just about everything you can do towards him. So because of that, he can't really approach him and punish him. I mean, him just feigning shoulder barge over again is not going to do anything to you either. But like I said, he has actually more tools than you. Finally.
Oh no! True talent.
Oh no!
Not again.
To handle you, it seems like, at least to me. Mm-hmm. So it seems like he's going to be extremely strong. You know, the big phrase S tier might be thrown out. You know, things like, you know, this Valk pseudo hidden stance thing nullifies a lot of the offense, but at the same time, when Warden's halfway across the map, safely just spamming it, you're not doing damage to him either.
Yeah, like what's being shown on stream right now is, you know, my duels against your Warden with my Valk. And
yeah, very very good manners, by the way.
Very good manners. Right. Toxic streamer. So yeah, like as a Valk, I don't really care, right? I just dodge an orange and I feel like a Nobushi pre-Warden work, right? But or I guess I spam sweep. I guess I can set back. But NA2EU is fine. But yeah, like again, as Valk, for example, again, I don't really care, but I'm not doing any damage to him either. And as any other character, well, now I have to kind of care. I can just, so I have to kind of react every now and then, but he can punish my reaction pretty easily. So yeah, Sabek, if you have anything else about Warden and 1v1, so we're gonna go to 2v2 and 44, which is gonna be more of like a theory crafting section because we haven't played much of that yet. But yeah, for 1v1, if anyone else has anything, like, please say. Oscar.
Yeah, he's definitely, you know, one of the best 1v1 heroes right now. I mean, that's obvious just from looking at any gameplay of him that he would be. But he's definitely not overbearing in any way, I don't think. Especially against other bash offense. I think actually is pretty interesting matchups like Conk v Warden or Warlord v Warden, that kind of stuff, where both heroes use a bash as their opener. Suddenly the Warden spamming shoulder bash, he's risking something for that. You know, let's say you're in Orochi and Warden's doing that, there's nothing you can do because every time he feints it, well, he blocks everything you do. But if you're, say, a Warlord and he enters shoulder bash and you read that he'll be in it for a bit, well, you can headbutt him, you know, Conk and shield bash him. So there's reads back and forth then, and I actually kind of find the matchups fairly fun to play because unlike pretty much everything for Honor, both players can't avoid all damage at all times. They're taking risks that are opening themselves up because they have to. So in terms of just a few matchups, I think this Warden is a really good direction for 1v1. But in terms of the design of the hero itself, I don't know, it's a bit weird that all he has is shoulder bash and nothing else.
Yeah. Like the only other thing is the dash heavy, and that's pretty much only useful with the shoulder bash, right? So, and then of course in 1v1 specifically, because in 2v2 and 44 there's other uses for the dash heavy, but in 1v1 you only use it if you're against someone who's rolling, right, from the shoulder bash. Okay, is there any other footage I could show, or am I just gonna have to show the Warden Valk play again? I can't really think of anything else. I guess I can just.
I mean, if you're just looking for Warden footage in duels, I know Havoc just played only Warden all day today.
Was he
In
streaming?
GM. Yeah, in GM. Only Warden.
Okay, Havoc for Honor, I think this thing, right?
You also still need to show the Legion, Kivu, 2v2, Val clip.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Do we?
Yes.
Not sure. Oh, Ice Guys. We can
This is my
show Ice
contract.
Guys. Okay, I think that should be this. Yeah, I don't think Stepmix is streaming. So otherwise, I would obviously be showing Stepmix, but not sure. At least have something. So okay, so that's in 1v1. Unless anyone else has anything to say. Like, obviously, I don't play any of the heroes that Scar plays. I don't play, Warlord. I don't play. Well, you don't play Conk either as Scar, but from watching, obviously, that's your thoughts. I assume at least. Yeah, so I don't really watch much 1v1 because why would I? And I don't play the heroes or really care about those heroes. Not care, but I don't play those heroes. What I'm trying to say. So my opinion is obviously going to be different. I play Valk and Nobushi. Valk, I don't care about Warden. And he doesn't care about me. It's just kind of like, we're both on the map, but we kind of might as well be on the other map. In Valk against Warden, and Nobushi, I care a little bit more because he can actually do some buttons to me. But okay, so let's move on to 2v2 and 4v4, because there was a 2v2 tournament which Warden did win, but the Crow's Nest. But as we said at the very beginning, it was not much of a serious tournament. A lot of the teams didn't take it very seriously. Us, for example, Square and I. So hard to take and draw any conclusions from that. But he does seem to be very good in 2v2. I don't know if he's quite on the level where if no one's banned, he would be played. Probably not. But if some characters are banned, like any combination of Conk Nobu Kensei, for example, if that's banned, well then maybe Conk Warden becomes the thing, right? Or Nobushi Warden becomes the thing. Or of course Kensei Warden. And then obviously for 2v2, his biggest tools are the dash heavy, which can punish a lot of things, of course rolls, and the shoulder bash that he can switch targets with, especially if it's charged. You can switch targets very quickly, and obviously that confirms 40 damage. And if he's with someone like Nobushi Kensei, of course they can like cover for his shoulder bash, so he doesn't get hit. So that's in 2v2, and if anyone has like any thoughts about him in 2v2, because I can't really say much else besides what I really watched or played against very, very quickly, so I can't say whether he would be good or not. Score, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's pretty much in agreement where he's a decent pick in 2v2, but not a top one.
Okay, so
4v4 though,
yeah,
I think there's potential to be a top pick there. Maybe, I don't know, it'll remain to be seen, but he's definitely a very viable pick.
Oh yeah, for 4v4, now this is what we're all about to say. This is all coming from having played no scrims yet. We haven't, there's going to be a 4v4 tournament on the 18th of August, but we haven't been practicing for 4v4 yet, so we don't know exactly what it's gonna be like. But his feats, come at me, or body count, but he would be using come at me most likely. Thick blood, which makes Shaman not someone that can do anything to, or Nobushi, with Gabrigan to bleed, which makes those characters not be able to do anything to the Warden, like not be able to deal any damage really, realistically, or gank is the most important part. And then for third, probably Second Wind, which makes other characters have a lot of difficulties to deal damage to him. And then for tier 4, Moral Booster, which makes literally everyone die for the duration of it. So a combination of for example Warden Lawbringer, would be Moral Booster with a lot of bombs. And now, well, what do you do in the late game, right? Kind of thing.
Yeah, Morale Booster, in terms of the numbers, you can think of it as a global for itself. Fear itself and Viradius decreases defense to equal and equivalent of 50% more damage. morale booster increases your attack damage to deal 50% more. And Vasel still means that they can stack, because one is a buff, one is a debuff. They combine to deal a total of 2.25 times the damage. So morale booster is pretty crazy.
Yeah, so you could, for example, have a Zerker as well instead of maybe a Lawbringer, but then, of course, you're having difficulties ganking. But maybe you can have, instead of Shaman, maybe you can have Zerker. The Wardens are on every team. Well, then maybe you can have Zerker, and now you have Fear itself as the last feat, right? Or something like that. Or just simply the most simple, I guess, combo for that is Warden and Lawbringer, who are very good both late game now. But now Lawbringer, well, obviously Lawbringer is kind of good in general, to do his feats and to do his ganking skills, let's call it. But now Warden is not terrible in the first part of the game. Now you can actually use Warden in the first part of the game as well, rather than just having for late game. So it feels like, you know, a strat that could definitely work, like Warden Lawbringer, Warden Zerker. Why not?
And in scrims, we play with every hero. We try them all out. So we have a pretty good idea of where heroes are. So before the rework, Warden was not very good, but you could tell that there were some parts of him that were insane. He just needed a little bit more to push him up. And it was his feats, you know, like you just could not gank him. We would play around with this Warden so much because it was so funny. As soon as he got tier 2, and if they didn't have a Lawbringer, you just would not die ever.
Yeah.
Wardens would always have like top KD and stuff. They were impossible to kill.
Yeah.
And the only issue was the rest of your team tended to do very poorly because they were basically fighting a 3v4.
Yeah.
Because the Warden couldn't help at all in fights. Now, this new Warden, as seen from the 2v2s, he can help in fights now. To a certain extent, he's not one of like the top hires, but like he can do stuff in fights. So the rework gave him exactly what he was lacking before. He still has what he had before. It all comes together to make a really, really strong pick.
Yeah, and yeah, now he has the unblockable as well, which is probably not going to be very used, but the biggest part of having the unblockable is now you can zone and not be cut broken every time, right, in a team fight. Or having the Psy Heavy for that. Psy Heavy, does the Psy Heavy have the same gut break vulnerability? I think at least it's the same, because I know at least that the top one.
I think top is less.
Okay, well the top one I know has 100.
I'm not entirely sure.
I know the top one has 100.
I'm not convinced on top being 100. I've grabbed it at times where it felt like 4.
I've never grabbed it. Submix could do it on a reaction to me. Gut breaking. I could not do anything. But maybe it's bipolar, like fucking Raider heavies. So yeah, well, Sabak, you have anything to say?
Yeah, so Scorebrand mentioned that Warden can actually do stuff in 4v4 situations. So what are the optimal things that Warden can do to help out his team now during team engagements?
Well, he has the zone. Okay, yeah, Score, you can answer that actually, since you're ready.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's mainly I think for running heavy is huge in 4v4.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. If you look at Valk, her only thing being the forward dash heavy, and that was enough for her to sometimes pop off in scrims. Just having one usable move, if used at the right times, could create amazing results if that move had good range to be able to punish everything. And Warden has that now. He can punish anything from a distance. He can prevent people from leaving fights. And on top of that, even on top of that, he prevents you from leaving a fight, and now he's threatening you with the shoulder bash. So he's keeping people there, keeping them available to be killed by your team. And he can punish anything in a team fight very easily. And he can even deal good damage, albeit a very likely chance of giving revenge with full charge bashes.
Oh.
So, if you do it to lower threat targets, like let's say if you're full charging a Lawbringer or something, sure, that Lawbringer is going to get revenge, but you're going to kill him a lot quicker if you land a full charge bash plus your heavy plus the teammates heavy at some point in a fight.
So he's kind of like the ultimate sheep herder. He just keeps the enemy team where your team wants him, and he's able to
And
punish them.
those kinds of heroes are really important because if you have 4 heroes that can just all be run away from, your opponents dictate every fight. They decide where you fight and when, and how many, and all of that. You look at every team comp, and they always have at least one hero, usually like 2 or 3, that can keep people in fights. You know, like Shaman can do it, Nabushi can do it, Kensei kinda can, PK can do it, you know, Valk, now Warden. Like, there's all these different heroes that force you to stay in a fight, and
Just
it's a really
rotation
important aspect.
prevention score, is it?
What was that?
Is it rotation prevention?
That's one part of it, but it's just any use that you could think of for keeping someone there. If you want someone to stay there, you know, it could be to prevent a rotation, it could be to prevent healing, it could be any reason. Having a hero that can prevent people from running is important.
Gotcha.
It could even be like surviving a gank. Like, let's say you're 2v1ing a guy, and their strat to survive the gank is to keep running. If you have a hero that can chase down, that really, really neuters their potential to run, because now they have to be relocking a lot more often.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like the sheep herd metaphor there, well, made me chuckle. I thought was
Thank you,
apt.
Setback. Very cool.
Yeah.
Like, very, very cool.
Very cool.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, there was one last thing. So yeah, it's just so on top of the sheep herding, like you said, the big thing is he's unkillable to a certain extent with the tier 2 feat, and so I can totally see why he'd be pretty dang viable.
Yeah, and then on top of that, he has second wind for third feed, right? So non-shaman ganks now also cannot kill him, which is great. Well, Lawbringer can kill him as long as he's with someone who can deal 125 damage in a combo, but.
Yeah, Lawbringer gank is the only thing that kill him.
Yeah.
You can't kill him with a shaman gank. You can't kill him in a team fight if he has second wind. Second wind is busted. Why is that feat? So, like, okay, can we talk for a second about second wind? I don't think many people realize how
change
broken
overlay,
that feat
change
is.
overlay,
Oh,
second
no.
wind discussion.
Oh no, I didn't have that.
Like-
I wasn't ready.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm gonna make a comparison here to Warlords tier 3, Tough as Nails. That's universally seen as a really good feat, right?
Is it?
Your Warlord has 175 base HP now. That's crazy. How do you kill this guy? Well, let's look at Second Wind. It effectively increases the base HP of any hero by 40. Okay, well, this is already better than Tough as Nails. Oh, and it refreshes every minute. Some fights last longer than a minute. Okay. It removes Blade and Fire, which can sometimes heal you for your entire HP. Okay. It prevents Shaman ganks, usually giving you revenge for Shaman gank.
Sounds fine to me. Score, I don't know what you're talking about.
It gives you revenge in every team fight because suddenly you have so much HP that you're just kind of guaranteed it.
Yeah.
And this is available on so many heroes that there are entire team comps that have 4 second wins, making a snowball impossible to come back from. His feat is broken. It's completely broken. It needs to be nerfed in some way.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, but what about Tough as Nails though? That's pretty.
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
good.
I was thinking. When I was thinking of second one, I was thinking it should 100% empty your revenge bar. It should not let you get revenge for free in a fight. And second of all, I think it. And on top of that, it could just not work on bleed. But the other way is to make it so it still works on bleed, but the cooldown is 90 or 120 or something like that. That's what I think. That's I think there are 2 ways. I think the revenge bar should always be emptied with that, because I don't like having guaranteed revenge every time you have a tier 3 feat. Mamba has a good idea actually. Bring back Blissful. I think that's a good idea.
Oh, there we go.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that's good.
That's how you nerf.
Oh,
That's how you nerf. Yeah, that's how you nerf second wind. So I think 100% it needs to empty the revenge bar. and second of all, it can either not work on bleed and still have same cooldown, or have a higher cooldown but still work on bleed. Is I think how we should nerf it. Like 90 seconds or 120 seconds cooldown. 120 I think would be better if it still works on bleed. Is how I think of it. But I think 100% the revenge bar needs to be emptied, because having a revenge every team fight for sure is broken.
Can I interject here? Is anything going to be done about keeping your revenge by killing minions? I hate it.
Everyone hates it, but it's okay. It's a small indie company. It takes a while.
Have we heard anything about this?
I don't think they've said anything. No, I don't think Ubi has said anything. I don't think they've said anything about the revenge bar being visible either. So,
well, guess I'll die.
Guess you'll die. Well, no, you will not die because you have revenge forever. So it's okay. No, I mean, for that we already talked about it in the on the podcast where we had like some of the changes that we think should happen to For Honor, where obviously revenge needs to be changed in some ways, like some of the other ways, some of the ways where like decreasing the amount we get in the movie and shit like that, but also on top of that, revenge bar being visible for everyone, and not being able to have that for minions forever. That pun hurt me physically. I don't think I made any pun here. I genuinely don't know what's going on. But anyway, the revenge bar being visible, that's 100% needed, and 100% needed is not being able to keep the revenge bar forever. So having it, because right now, if anyone doesn't know, by the way, in chat, if you have your revenge full or even almost have revenge, you just lock on, kill minions, and you will keep it forever. There's no way for you to lose your revenge. So
good, dude. So good.
Yeah, whenever I almost have revenge in 4v4, I just never go help my teammates because no one can kill me. I know if I just have revenge. So I almost have revenge. I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay in mid, guys. Good luck. And anyone tries to take mid, I have revenge. They cannot do anything for at least the duration of time that I have revenge. And there's also the Gabrick thing that I can deal some damage with if they're not careful. I have my feats, usually probably like Smoke Bomb, which again makes it so that they can contest mid. So I'm like, by myself I can just keep 2 or 3 people at bay because I can keep revenge forever. So obviously that needs to be changed. Okay, is there anything else about Warden that we want to say before going to the Q&A section at the end?
I guess it would be, does anyone think there needs to be changes, or is it too soon, or are we happy?
Well, I think we should have had Sedmix for this one. I think that you should not be able to slide with shoulder bash. Like that. First of all, it looks dumb, and second of all, it makes it so that like he can just stay at range, and of course in some matchups he cannot do that, like against as Score was saying, against Conk and Warlord. He can't do it as much, and especially against Warlord with Crashing Charge, right? Actually, whatever, it doesn't matter. Either way, what I was saying is the sliding needs to go, and then if that ends up making shoulder bash reactable or something, well then that of course needs to be somehow adjusted. But I'm not sure if anything else needs to be adjusted about the hero itself and himself, about fates, I think for sure, but not about the hero himself.
Yeah, I'm not a Warden player myself, so I don't really have any ideas there. But in terms of sliding, yeah, it needs to go. On top of reasons you said, there's another reason. It can cause some pretty big rollback issues. I remember fighting Legion sliding Warden back in Season 1, and sometimes what would happen if he slid close enough to my face was the game would not recognize that he fainted the bash in time. So what would happen would be he would hit me with his bash, and then suddenly everything would teleport and go back in time when I realized, that was fainted. I'd be getting hit by his slides, and it was really, really confusing.
Yeah, it was some real fun times back then, when you actually just had to roll. It's great. Yeah, so the sliding... yeah, correct.
Personally, I'd like to see a change on the unblockable. I'd like it to apply more pressure, but trade off that for damage. Damage reduced on it.
I think I don't know how to do that, right? Maybe I simply don't know, or at least of just thinking really quickly about it. But I think the side heavies should have, for example, hyper armor or something. That they chain side heavies. I mean, I think should have hyper armor, so that there's another tool there for you use unblockable if you know it's going to be confirmed. You use the side heavy if you want to, for example, trade or something like that with someone who wants to punish your zone or something like that, right?
Sure, that's an alternative. Yeah, that's good.
In terms of the top unblockable, I think that's less a Warden issue and more a universal game issue with all unblockables. It's just they all need to be fainted just slightly later to make them harder to react to.
That's really what I'm referencing.
Well, as far as I know, the unblockable for Warden, I think it faints 400 MS before the hits, right? I think, which is the standard faint timing. I don't know if Snake's in the chat or something. Probably not. So they can't really confirm that.
I'm pretty sure that's correct. I'm pretty sure it's a standard window.
Yeah, so the standard window is just not.
Maybe it's one of those things where a move on a character, the animation gives it away heavily.
The animation.
Yeah, well, I think there's also just a general problem there. Maybe the white flash needs to go because, of course, delaying feints is a thing. If you input your feint later, it'll add a few more frames on before it faints, but that is not enough to make a difference for players at the top end of reaction speeds. I tested delayed feints with Devoured, and even though I'm adding on a few more frames to my attack, he's reacting to the white flash. He never falls for any of them at all.
Yeah. So something definitely needs to be done.
Or maybe even just add the white flash on the feint itself.
Yeah, because isn't one issue that they can't do increments in between 100 milliseconds for stuff? So maybe they're afraid to jump up that window by 100 milliseconds or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's very much possible. Okay, so I think about Warden, that's about it. So now we will be going to Q&A, if I can. Easy transition. Okay, Q&A. So throughout the show, I've been asking for questions, and I'll ask again. If you have any questions, then just add me in the chat, and we'll, whoever the question is asked to, or just all of us will answer. I'll be looking if there were any questions already. Is Warden's Shoulder Bash a complete guessing game, or is it reactable? Are there safe options against it? It's not really reactable, especially due to the slide, but not only. There are safe options against it, like Valk's full block, but other than that, like, it is a lot about reading your opponent, with characters like Conk and Warlord, like Skor was saying. If you read that they will charge the bash a little bit, you can bash them. If you read that they will not charge the bash, then of course you can dodge it. You can get the guard break. So I think that's about it for that, unless anyone has anything else to add. But there are some safe options that should not be there. Also, you can make it a little bit easier for yourself to by rolling, like dodging the non-charged bash and then rolling against the charged bash. But of course, that also has a counter by the Warden. But that would be a nice, that probably won't be countered as much as the other options. Why is Sebak's square body so beautiful? Thank you, Squareback. Thank you for the question. Squareback, would you like to maybe answer that question for us?
It's a mystery of the universe.
Okay. I joined late, so is the not take bleed damage broken feat because counters almost every attack of Nobushi? Nobushi is one of the ones that is affected by it. The biggest thing is that, first of all, like, her hidden stance doesn't obviously deal damage to Warden, really. That's like 10, 11, 12, something like that. Obviously Cobra Strikes deal no damage. And the biggest thing is that the guard break into Cobra Strike doesn't kill at 1 bar, which it usually does every other hero. But that's a big thing, but the biggest thing is that Shaman Gangs are not usable against Warden, which is, I think, pretty strong. I don't know if...
the way I view Thick Blood is, if you look at just its power level, yes, it is extremely overpowered, but I think it's fine. There's other cases of overpowered feats that are completely fine. One being body count. Body count is way out of proportion for a tier 1 feat. The amount of heals for tier 1 is insane, but it kind of shapes the meta instead of adversely affecting it. It shapes it in a more positive way. And I think Thick Blood is kind of along that same line where, you know, if you think it, well, of course, right now, Warden is just always going to have that use for Thick Blood because every team has Shaman and Nobu. But let's say in a future where Shaman might get nerfed, there's more variety in team counts. Now it can be more of a meta call. You can be like, this team we're fighting really likes to use Shaman and Blade ganks. All right, let's pull up a Warden Thick Blood. Let's counter that. You know, it becomes more of a counter pick thing where it is extremely useful, completely broken against some stuff, but it doesn't really do anything against other stuff.
Yeah, I think right now it's gonna be broken, but if we have a meta where like 20 characters are usable and all of them are valid picks in some situations, I think it's gonna end up being alright. But I think right now it's going to be broken for a long time, just because you just make Shaman unusable, like, well, specifically against Warden, of course, and then that's a big thing for Nobushi as well, not being able to bleed them. Well, now you're making, in a lot of them, the situations, you're making two of the characters not be able to do anything to you, right? Which right now in the meta is going to be very, very, very strong, but, you know, as Kurt said, maybe in the future we have a meta where that's not as big of a deal. Well, then, you know, maybe if there's a Shaman nerf in the future or something like that, or a Nobushi nerf, or both at the same time, well, then now Thick Blood is more of a choice. But yeah, right now I think it's going to be pretty strong. A consensus seems to be that Valak's rework is garbage. Yeah. Do you think it should be revisited? And if so, when? Well, the only situation that we've seen so far, I think, where a character has been... well, actually, no, well, for Highlander, he was added to the game and then he was revisited after a season, I think it was a season. But since, other than that, we haven't seen a character be reworked and then in the future Ubisoft make changes to that character that are big. Like Conquer has been getting like small nerfs each patch almost, but that's not really. I guess that could be counted as revisited. Orochi had some bug fixes to him mid-season.
Warlord has had a lot of changes over the patches.
Yeah, but he didn't get a rework, right? That's the thing. Like I'm saying, I'm talking from
his nerf was on the level of a rework,
that's true.
And then undoing parts of it were on the level of another rework. And then there's been a lot of changes to Crash and Charge over the patches.
Yeah, I guess.
Like back in season 2, Crash and Charge worked completely differently.
Yeah, I don't know if any of those were intentional, but there were changes to Warlord. But for two characters that were called reworks in season 5, there hasn't been any changes to any characters except for Kong, except for bug fixes for Orochi. So I would be surprised if they revisited Valk anytime soon. But she obviously needs it. What other? Do you think they should just remove the guard switch bug altogether so all heroes are in the same situation as assassins? Yes. It's a bug, so it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, definitely. Stuff is too easy to react to.
Yeah. What does the current character tier list look like for duels? You have 4 choices: Warden, Kong, Warden, Gladiator. You pick any of those, you can play.
Highlander works too.
He works against Kong and has an okay matchup.
I think Highlander is just a pretty decent pick. He beats Kong. He goes about even with Warlord and Glad. Like, he's not a bad pick.
But the thing is, he can't attack, right? And while others are not great attacking, I think they can at least provide some pressure. While the Highlander can't really do much. So he relies on you pressing buttons, and then it's kind of like Valk, right?
He has offensive line.
Yeah, but with guard switch back, they're reactable, right? And now that you can use the guard switch back and dodge at the same time, he can't ever like use. I don't know if he could ever use that to his advantage. Probably not, but now for sure he cannot. And I feel like definitely Highlander is playable. But I think if you want to win a tournament, you play any of the 4, or maybe a combination of any of the 4, and maybe have like a Zerker or a Highlander second pick against certain characters. Like for example, if you play, Warden, or if you play for example Warden, then you could have like a second pick against Glad Berserk, or second pick against Highlander Bekong, just to make sure that you win that matchup for sure. Not that Warden loses against those like really handily or anything like that, but you know, you can have those second picks against the specific characters. What are the thoughts of everyone in the cast on overpowered feats like Catapult the Fireflies? Catapult's not that great. Well, it's obviously, oh, okay, I said it wrong. It is obviously very good, but I don't think it's necessarily like the best tier 4 feat. There's way better tier 4 feats.
Yeah. Catapult is pretty mediocre.
Speaking of
Highlander, yeah, I was about to say Champion's Aura is absolutely broken. No, obviously.
Oh yeah,
that one. Stalwart Banner and Champion's Aura are the feats that tilted me the most. They don't work against Shaman Bleed. They simply do not work against that one bleed that is the most important. You sit in it and you get ganked, and you're like, why did I use a tier? Why did I work the entire game for this tier 4 feed when I died to getting ganked in it anyway against 2 people, not even like 3 or 4? And it's like, okay, whatever. That's I'm just mad about Stalwart Banner. But let me read the question. Or Fire Flask or LB bombs, should they be adjusted or kept in the game? Well, the strongest one definitely should be adjusted, like Spear Storm being broken, it should be adjusted, of course. But then obviously Arrow Storm should be obviously like made better.
What if Spear Storm Highlander teleported to everybody and whispered the sound that he's supposed to make?
Yeah, it would be
an improvement.
Yeah, it would be like a Shaolin feat, right?
Yeah.
Then Shaolin thing, sorry, like when Shaolin has the tier 4 feat to allies. Well, Highlander would have a tier 4 feat to his enemies, and you know he whispers to all of them. Actually, that'd be a pretty good change, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like if they just dropped dead after he whispered as well.
Yeah, no, just take out the arrows.
Yeah, no, you don't need the spears at all. He just teleports to them, whispers in their ear, and they die.
Oh,
and you never know what he says though.
You never know.
No, there's no audio. There's no audio.
No, he says something. You can assume he says something, but there's no audio.
It zooms. Your camera is forced to zoom in on his lips.
Oh,
it's really high fidelity cutscene.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it's like a story mode edition.
Yeah. Oh. Single player content.
Single player content, yeah, before.
Get Bandana Dan back, he's got speedrunner again.
Then speedrun the Spear Storm feat. Yeah, but to actually answer the question, yeah, like obviously too strong. The feats that are too strong obviously need to be adjusted. Like that's kind of like the easiest way to answer that. But you know, feats like Fire Trap is already being nerfed or already was nerfed in this patch. It was 90-second cooldown or 120, whatever the amount was way too low, and so 160. And you know, feats like Spear Storm obviously need nerfing. But I think the question was more like, what do you think about like one-shot feats? I think it was more the idea, and I think if there needs to be something happen, like you get your tier 4 feat and then there's a situation where you can use it that you know one shots people, I think it's fine. But if this is like Spear Storm, like people happen to be close to each other and so now they're dead, that's kind of an issue. But if like Catapult, like well, you need to wait for people to maybe maybe a teammate Gabrix, or there's like a big fight if they're about to do like a big punish, or like a Shaman gang for example, and then you catapult them or something like that. Then I think that's mostly fine. But then there's also feats like Moral Booster, which doesn't necessarily one-shot people, but it sure as hell seems like it one-shots people. So that obviously needs to be adjusted.
It'd be nice. Let's say those feats were looked at, revisited. Let's say
that'd be nice.
But they also revisited the many dead feats in the game.
I think our Strike and our Storm are fine. I think they should be. They are the way they should be.
Oh man, that's only 2, dude. There's so many dead feet.
I'm joking. Obviously, they need to be fixed. Yeah.
Arrow Storm though, yeah.
It's a really good feed.
Good one.
Good
Slippery.
One. Oh, Slippery is the fucking most memeiest shit. The Ubisoft thought that being able to counter Gabrix for yourself on dodge is so strong. It has to be a tier 4 active feat. That can't even be passive.
Wait. What do you mean on dodge? It doesn't do that.
Oh yeah, it doesn't even do that on dodge.
It only counter guard breaks for you when you are able to counter.
Yeah, well that's what I mean. Yeah, but
to be fair, the animation's really cool looking though. Like it's really well done.
That's correct.
It looks beautiful.
Why can do
animation
why can
on terrible feats? Like, have you guys seen Kensei use Steadfast?
It's so good.
It is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I want to run that feat.
He like stomps his feet and there's lightning strikes and shit, and now you can't throw him.
It's really good.
Nice.
Like, can we have the person who worked on Steadfast and Duffy we just talked about on Valk Headbutt? Can we have that person, please? What happened with Valk? What's that animation for her now? Oh god. Okay, other questions. What do you think about the nerf to Fiat Lux? I think it's... I don't know. I think it's a little bit too much, maybe, but...
Yeah, I think it went a little bit too far.
I think if it was just doesn't kill minions, I think it'd be okay then. Rather than making damage.
The issue there was it killing minions. It was broken because of that.
Yeah.
So this version being a little too weak now is better
Yeah.
than what we had before, but it could use improvements. You know, one idea would be dealing 25 to players, but none to minions.
Yeah.
We know they are able to do something like that because you look at Stun Trap. Stun Trap damages players, but not minions.
Yeah.
So they're able to do that.
Yeah.
Another idea would be to go the Ki route where it doesn't put your teammates out of stem. But yeah, there could be improvements done to it, but I think it's better than what we had before
Yeah.
in terms of balance.
I'm just gonna miss the Death Cube
Oh no.
strat, man.
Oh no.
Yeah, rest in peace, Cube.
Stalwart.
Temple Garden, just
Feels
lobbing
bad.
those Fiat Lux.
Stalwart banner kills all these bat shamans. How is that not a bug? I'm sure it's a bug. Are you playing on Xbox as well? Yes, I do. What do you think of the punch through nerf?
I'm a big fan of my tier 3
yeah.
beats being worse than tier 1s, you know?
Yeah.
I love Slippery on my Raider. I now love Punch Through on my Heavies.
It's, I love it. We love the nerf.
Yeah, I don't get it because they have been given a lot of different ideas on what to do with Punch Through, and apparently what they came up with was make it worse than a tier 1, so that's
Well,
cool, I guess.
If you think of it this way, this was probably the best idea of the ideas they put on the table in-house, you know?
I don't wanna.
I don't want to see those ideas.
What do you think the other ideas were like?
If there are worse ideas than that, then I would like to see those ideas. I would like to be in the meetings where those ideas are presented.
Punch Through now does only blind and stun.
That'd be better. That'd be fucking better than what we have.
Contains superior elements to the lights, enhanced lights.
Punch for now only works on minions. That would be only works on teammates now. It heals the teammates. I don't know what the worst idea could be, but I think they tried
Maybe
really
they
hard to have the
incorporate the raw emote spam. Is this some sort of a buff
yeah punch for
around you?
guarantees a raw on block. That'd be a good one.
No way, I got it. Give me.
Oh god, no, it's a terrible nerf. My question to Scarbrand, I feel like Valk is now better than Gladiator. What do you think, Scarbrand? What do you think?
What do I 1v1, definitely not. Of course, Gladiator is one of the best. Is bad. 2v2, Valk is already better than Gladiator because of her full block, knocking people down.
And now,
But I think she still remains better than Glad in 2v2 just due to having Salvagard.
because sweep, I think, is the answer. Sweep is very
Please
good
play
for
the clip.
teammates.
Please play
Yeah.
Find me the
It's
clip,
pretty
Seb.
good.
I'm gonna play it.
Okay.
Just having Salvagard and dodge attacks makes her better than Glad in 2v2 still, in my opinion.
Well, now
4v4
Glad has the save garbage, the save dash on block, right? So maybe that's gonna be. A little bit
Yeah,
less,
but I mean, Valk has that too.
yeah,
and Valk has
obviously. Well,
Salvagard.
yeah, obviously, I'm saying like with the dash attack is the. But yeah, obviously.
Well, Glad's dash attacks suck too. They track like nothing at all.
I think
I believe they fixed the target spot tracking.
They-
didn't
Oh,
they?
they
they
did.
tried to. I don't know if
But
they did.
Valk has more range, anyways, regardless.
Ah.
Yeah.
4v4, I would have to scrim without to see maybe Bloodlust Worrying again makes her better, but I doubt it. I doubt Outfetch would be better than Blood in the 4v4, but there's a possibility.
Maybe.
They're both pretty bad at 4v4.
Yeah, they're both pretty bad.
So it's like comparing shit to poop. So I don't know.
Huh. I see. Thank you for the comparison, Scarbrand.
You're
Shit,
welcome.
Red.
Okay.
Very cool.
Very cool. What's everyone's on the cast faith in Ubisoft in regards to balance the game health? Next question. Next question. Next question. When is the next big tournament coming and who will win? I think the next one is gonna be the 1v1 initial gaming tournament. I think Sebag is gonna win that one.
Competitive For Honor is having a 4v4 on August 18th.
Yep.
So it has been a very long time since we've had a 4v4 due to various factors. So that one will be really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna personally be able to play on it, but if I'm not, then I'll make sure to watch it. Obviously, I'm having some pre-planned arrangements, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play, but either way, I'm sure it's gonna be a fun tournament with some fun late game Warden. It doesn't belong to the topic, but can you give a quick opinion on the new gear system they want to bring? Oh, actually, yeah, we forgot to talk about that one. I forgot to make like a news part of the. My cat is retarded. I forgot to make like a news part of the stream. Yeah, the perks they sound really good. I think they sound way better than Gear ever did. So
I am really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
because I do play quite a bit of matchmaking, and Gear is so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Like I just want it to go.
Don't you like 95 damage heavy score?
It's like damage is one thing, but then you have it's just all combined. Everybody does.
Do you like constant revenge? No.
I love having
You're
to guess.
still not getting at my main problems with it. Like the biggest issues for me are that every single hero has the speed revive feat for free. And that's a pretty big one. And the spear speed revive feat stacks with the spear revive feat. That one is.
It's okay. Sometimes that can work too. Oh, that's a notification.
That's a notification.
That's
there's a notification.
Someone donated.
There's everybody regaining their stamina immediately. That one's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Blade doing half damage to everyone. That's a good one.
I love that one.
But yeah, just
everything.
They could replace it with anything. It's nice that what they're replacing with actually seems kind of cool, but I'm just most excited for Gear being gone.
I'm gonna clip you saying they could replace it with anything, and then when they come out with the feats and they're somehow worse, then or the perks are somehow worse.
It's impossible to be worse than Gear.
Clip that as well.
What's the opinion on Minion Stagger? I like Minion Stagger when it's not bugged as it is right now, because sometimes it makes you miss parries, or makes some things guaranteed that are not supposed to be guaranteed, and you should not be obviously able to garbage minions, but having a risk to being in the enemy's minions in not breach game modes is good, but not the way it works right now, obviously.
Yeah, minions need to stagger because otherwise there is no threat to them.
Yeah,
and they provide extra positioning to the minion.
My cat is providing extra audio for the stream right now, so.
Oh, good. Because you don't want to be positioning in your enemy's minions, because there's that real threat that you could eat huge hits from enemy heroes because of the minions.
Yeah.
If they just did damage or anything, you would never care about being in your enemy minions. In fact, if you have body count, it would always be a benefit. Whereas right now, it's usually a benefit, but there can be risk to it if your opponents play properly around it all.
Yeah. Do you think the game is moving in the right direction? Well, with Breach, the new characters some of them seem fun. Some of them, the two that we see, Tiandi is pretty broken. Shaolin is fun at least. But with Breach and with I don't know, is the game moving in the right direction? I feel like there's some parts of it that are moving in the right direction, but some parts of it that are not. So
I feel like it is, but it's going 5 miles an hour.
Yeah, I was gonna say the most frustrating part is the speed as which it's moving.
Yeah,
God bless the dev team, but
we get ranked, right? Which is amazing. We can play the game now. We can get some ladder going, and then it's only 1v1 and it doesn't work. We get a new hero, or not a new hero, but we get Valk, a very requested rework, same with Warden, and then Valk's best move is Hidden Stance, right? And then we get Warden, amazing, one of the most played heroes, and then he can slide. It's like, please, like do something.
Yeah, it's you get something that's anticipated as moving forward, and it comes with this caveat issue
Yeah,
that then has to be revisited, which then prevents, obviously because they spend time on that in house to revisit it and fix it or whatever. They're not spending time on something else.
yeah.
So I would like to see things come into the game that were closer to being done right the first time.
That'd be nice. Okay, actually, I just want to have the multi-streamable for when the end the stream, so I can have that on outro. Just give me a second. Okay.
Understandable.
It needs to be the outro for today's stream. Okay, so is there any other question? I think we're gonna be answering like one more maybe question. Are they actually putting the perks in ranked modes, or do you see the comp scene ever using them? I don't know. I think they said that they might at one point, if it's good, they might have it in the ranked. And if they're good in comp scene, we'll use them. Yeah, if they provide variety and they provide different builds, but as long as they're readable, like I know how much damage I'm gonna take if that opponent hits me and shit like that, then I don't see why. If it's only good, I don't see why it would be bad for the for the competitive scene. Can we get a tier list from Cat? I think the Cat is above all like Necron tier. What else? Like one more question. One more question. I think we're done now. Is there a link with all the perks coming to the game? They haven't announced all the perks. They've shown some of them. Okay, so I think that's gonna be it. So thanks to all of you for watching, and thanks to my guests, my amazing 6 best players in the game and best content creators for being here. So Scorpion, do you have anything to say at the end? And you want to shout out anything to, if you're doing anything maybe?
Not that I can think of, but I just want to
I'm
mention
not doing
again
anything. That's my life.
upcoming 4v4 tournament. Get teams together, join that.
Yeah, it's on competitive.
It's gonna be really
It's
cool.
gonna competitive for honor. We have 2 weeks from now. I can maybe link it in chat. And meanwhile, Craig, do you have anything to say? Thank you very much.
Go to my Twitch and YouTube. Like for like, follow for follow.
Follow for follow, sub for sub. Okay, and well, do you plan on streaming today or Craig or tomorrow or whatever, so that people know where they can watch you?
No, my streams are quite irregular.
Okay.
You actually do have to follow if you want to see them.
Okay. So actually follow Zero Crack.
Actually follow for follow.
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
the name you see on screen, the Zero Crack with the underscore, is the Twitch name, as far as I know, right?
It's an O instead of a 0 because someone took my
Oh,
name.
really? Okay, so it's gonna have to be an O0 actually instead of Z.
Wow, what a setback.
Okay, I'm gonna be muting Setback, and Setback will not be able to. Okay, Setback
That actually hurt me.
6 best player in the world. What do you do, and where can we see?
So it all started on the night I was born.
Okay. We've got time. We can talk.
Okay. That's all I got. Actually, I didn't plan to go this far with the joke.
Yeah.
Where did it finish?
Where did it finish? Is it finished?
Yeah. Let me think about. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good. Okay. Thank you very much.
Also, I stream.
Where? On Mixer?
That's next year.
Like, expanding your horizons.
I shouldn't have said that was a
that's
leak.
NDA.
Exclusive podcast leak.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're
Look, I can
welcome.
click. I
I
can
stream on
clickbait
Twitch.
this.
You can go for it.
Yeah. Alright, so he streams on Twitch, setback underscore. If you want to see some more,
Yeah.
some more squares, some more people hated by True Talent, you can watch there.
Okay, we don't know if he hates me. He just banned me preemptively from his chat and called me swear
some
words.
choice words. I'd say that's pretty conclusive evidence.
Pretty sure he hates it, dog.
Yeah.
Alright.
So speaking of people that True Talent hates, I will be streaming after this as well. I'll be doing some ranked. So if you want to stick around, you can watch that. If not, if you were just here for the podcast, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to all the guests who participated here. And yeah, so thank you guys, and I'm gonna see you next time. Okay, now that I'm done with the fucking guests, I can actually talk. But I think I say this every time, and I have nothing to really continue with. So that's gonna be it for the podcast. So if you want to keep watching, then I will. Oh no, you can see the fucking. I had to leave the Discord. Oh, Setback is still on the channel. on the overlay. That's important. We need to have a sub back here. Either way, I will be streaming after this. I will be streaming some ranked. If you want to stick around, you can watch. If not, then that's gonna be it for the podcast. I will now go to the outro screen, and in a few minutes I will go back. So yeah, if that's it, then thank you guys for watching. If you want to stick around, that's nice as well.